Welcome, everyone. It's Glenn McKnight from the Virtual School of Internet Governance, along with Bill Joris, VSIG advisor. We welcome our good friend Caleb. Caleb and I have known each other through mostly with the activities with NPOC, also with wider in the ICANN community. And I remember when he joined as a drummer aficionado with the GEMS. Well, I think where was that? Morocco was the first time you joined the GEMS. Is that right, Caleb?
About that time, I can't remember, but I think probably earlier.
Yeah,
I think I joined at my second meeting. I can't recall, but yeah.
but
But I've
Caleb's been a dedicated leader in the. He's based in Winnipeg, but he's currently an ISOC board member, and he's very determined in speaking passionately about the end user community. So I'd like to welcome him, and I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So just for the audience that we'll be discussing with today, my name is Caleb Ogundele, and I'll be talking about internet governance actors, the power of multi-stakeholderism. Just so you know, the internet means a lot of things to so many people. Governance also means a lot of things to so many people. Being a participant, being an actor, either good or bad, within the internet, and then the internet governance is also quite a number of things. And so one of the objectives of this class is to discuss what internet governance really is, who are some of the actors, and then the power of multi-stakeholderism. So I kind of prepared these slides randomly for almost just any audience, as simple as I can, um, assuming that most of the people that will be watching this are probably just starting the journey on internet governance and might want to understand a few things about internet governance. So that's the objective of this class. So just a little background about myself. My name is Caleb, and if you want to read more about me, just go to my website. And just so you know, I keep two domain names for myself because I am based out of Winnipeg, Canada, as well. I keep a .ca domain, and because I am originally from Nigeria and I spend most of my time also in Nigeria, I still keep my .ng domain. And if you want to follow me on social media, it's just at Muyiwa Caleb, and let's get started. So, the global internet. Um, because of the internet, that's the reason why we are here. That's the reason why you can connect. You all can connect with me, and then we can all discuss and have this conversation. So, about 63% of the world's population, um, as at 2021, sorry, as at 2023, has probably come online. But we still have a lot of job to do and a lot of work to do. If 100% of people in the world are not connected, those in the remote area, I think our generation is failing those people, and we need to work harder to make sure they are all connected. So, um, as you can see in the chart, you see that internet usage has grown explosively since 2000, especially in Asia, developing regions in Africa, and the global reach means diverse voices are affected by internet policy, internet governance, and so making inclusive governance is very, very essential. So, internet governance matters because the internet now connects the majority of people worldwide. And then the chart that I just showed you here showed that we had almost near zero users from the early 90s to several billions by the 2020s. And this explosive growth is a good thing and underscores the need for effective governance. So as more users such as businesses, civil society, and governments, including individuals, come online and they rely on the internet. Decisions about how the internet impacts us all is very important. And this session will try to explore who makes those decisions, how they are made through multi-stakeholder processes. So the question is, what is internet governance? Maybe I should start with this crazy image. What is internet governance? I want it to be more interactive. Edmond, do you want to talk to me? Engage with me? Tell me, what is internet governance? You can see so many things on the slide. This could be very confusing. Don't you agree with me, Edmond?
Hello. Yes, yes, Caleb.
Yeah. So looking at everything you see on the screen, don't you think it's very confusing?
Yes, especially. I mean, the way the things are stacked in there, it looks more like everything is jumbled together. You don't really see which is which, and there are a lot of information there. So it becomes a bit difficult knowing which one to really go by.
Exactly. So I just showed you that image just to give you an understanding that internet encompasses different and multiple stakeholders with different issues, but we'll get to that as we go on. So yes, this is a Diplo Foundation graphic, just so you know. I need to give credit to them that this is a Diplo Foundation image that I'm using, right? So now, that being said, what is internet governance? VSIG in 2005, there was something that was held back then, it's called WSIS, World Information Society. And so in 2005, they kind of helped streamline and defined internet governance as the development and application by government, the private sector, the civil society, the technical community, in their respective roles of shared principles, norms, rules, decision-making procedure, right? And programs that help shape the evolution and use of the internet. Therefore, the key thing I want you to understand is that there is no one single controller of the internet, but we have many stakeholders, like I mentioned, the government, business, technical experts, civil society, all working together, not one central authority. And it covers some of the issues that, internet governance usually covers include technical issues such as DNS, IP addressing, networking protocols, public policy issues, things like cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, privacy, content regulation, and then if you also narrow down to some of this issue, so when I mentioned that not one person controls the internet, right? I have a quick quiz for you. Maybe you might probably get it. Do you think ICANN controls the internet? ICANN as a body. Edmond.
Yeah. Hello, Caleb.
Yeah, this is a quick quiz for you. Do you think that ICANN controls the internet? Because I know you attended an ICANN constituency meeting just now.
Yeah. So I can. Is more like let's say a governance structure. It has to do with formulate policies that guides and then shape the way the internet is used. So if you are looking with, at that aspect, you can say I can controls the internet, but not specifically controlling like you, the user, what you do and that, but they have a role in that.
Okay. Okay, I will answer that question. How many root servers do you think powers the internet? How many root servers?
Okay. For ICANN,
Yeah.
there are quite a lot. Okay. So
Okay.
let's say they have. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I can to the best of my understanding, they have about 13, if not, but the 13 has to do with a bit of logical root server identities. Yes, but I know there are other independent servers or organizations that are part of that, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so you are right in some in that instance. ICANN actually has 13 root servers. And so while they probably have other redundancies elsewhere, but the core ones are 13 root servers. Now, to answer your the previous quiz, which I asked you, ICANN does not actually control the internet, right? All the people that are participating within ICANN are the ones who actually contribute to the decision-making process. It's a bottom-up approach, right? ICANN is also just one entity among several other entities that we have in this image. Here in the image, you will see that we have here, you will notice we have ICANN. Here that I just highlighted, we have ICANN, right? But does it mean that it's only ICANN that has to do anything with the internet? No. We also have the United Nations, right? We have IETF. We have other, bodies that are involved in it. And they don't just come to just talk about or make decisions about root servers, all the technical jargons, right? They talk about cybersecurity, they talk about legal issues, they talk about human rights, they talk about development, they talk about economic nature of the internet, social culture, how these things affect us, the human right part of it, they talk about it, right? So these are just examples of issues that they come to talk about when it comes to the internet. So I just thought I should just, correct that and let you know that ICANN itself, despite the fact that they have the 13 root servers, are not the only ones who make decisions about the internet. There are other contributors as well. So the question is, why do we map internet governance issues and stakeholders? I'm pretty sure you probably saw, I just want to do a little bit of theoretical aspect of internet governance with you. You probably saw a little bit of that image where we have issues on social, we have issues on legal, we have issues on human right and things like that. So I just wanted to also correct one notion that internet governance is not about technical standards alone. It's about the rules of the road for the entire digital community, the roadmap for digital society. You and I are participants of that digital society. And so mapping helps us in understanding core issues. It helps us understand the stakeholders and actors, the mechanism and the procedures. So I will say this, that you being in ICANN, in NCSG, you will notice that they were discussing finance-related issues, right? And as it affects ICANN. Now, what they are also trying to do is that they are helping you break down complex issues and complex issues to you within the NCSG as a stakeholder. The way they will probably break it down to another constituency might also be different. So just giving you an idea of how that presentation that you probably just experienced in your last meeting, the NCSG meeting, might probably turn out when it comes to a different constituency, right? So mapping internet governance issues and stakeholders helps us to provide tool for communication between the key professionals, right? And it's help us, have a clear understanding and analysis, and how much or how far we can research into internet governance. So that's one of the reasons, or these are some of the reasons why we usually map internet governance issues and then the stakeholders. So this is a bit of theory. I don't want to get you bored, right? So internet governance is an internet governance initiatives and models for mapping internet governance issues. Basically, it's concerned about internet issues, as we all know. Decision fora that affects the internet governance route through decisions that are taken could, be through different bodies such as ICANN, W3C, IETF, IEB, WTO, and a couple of other UN bodies and that. But the framework that I want us to understand is the Schrodinger's cat framework. It's a theoretical thing in internet governance space, right? So now, using cats, as you can see there, right? You can see that all these cats that are here, right? What are they trying to do? Just give me an idea. Edmond? 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 Are you still there? Or have I lost you? Okay.
He's here, but I don't see him. Yeah, he's here. Edmund, are you there?
Yes, please. Sorry, the network. I think I had a problem with the network.
Yeah,
So I went off.
Okay, go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah. So part of what I was talking about is that I was talking about Fox. I don't like to do theoretical stuff, especially in short classes like this, right? But I wanted to ask you something. On the image you are seeing about the cats, what did you notice about the cats? What actions do you notice they are all trying to do? Edmund?
The image, yes. So for the cat, I see the cat. Well, the one from the right trying to walk, taking some steps. Then there's a one in a bag, more like a bag, that is transparent, and one that is not. One is standing in the bag, and then I see the cat, one in the box stretching to get hold of something. There is
Yeah.
one also in the bag on the floor, lying prostrate on the floor, and like the cat
So,
is trying to do so many things.
exactly, right? So imagine internet governance, right? That's the way everybody that comes to an internet governance related meeting, that's the way they all come. They all have
Okay.
different approach, but everybody wants to play in a box or either relax or take a decision as a cat, right? So the analogy I just gave you is the Schrodinger's cat's analogy about internet governance, where you try to achieve consensus among diverse players, often with conflict views, right? But there is one thing that all the cats want to do. They either want to relax or they want to play. At least that's what that image tells you, right?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes.
Yes.
They either want to relax or they want to play. So that's how internet governance is. Everybody has diverse views, conflicting views, right? And so the question is, why is it hard, right? When you have diverse interests from government that want sovereignty, from all the things, like you can imagine if US itself owns the internet or Russia owns the internet, right? With the current war going on in Ukraine, do you think that Russia is going to give Ukraine internet?
No, certainly not.
So that's an example of sovereignty, or why we should not allow one, this thing, one nation, government, or company control the internet, right? Basically, companies also want to make profits. You understand? You see Facebook trying to outsmart OpenAI, Google trying to outsmart OpenAI, and you understand they are all trying to outsmart each other, right? Everybody wants to make profit. So imagine if you put the internet in the hands of one private company, right? We are all in trouble, isn't it? Now, civil society also wants rights. Technologists also want stability. So there is no central control. That's what I'm trying to make you understand. And trust me, internet governance is still evolving. There's still lots of conversation on internet governance that are ongoing. And so, according to Diplo Foundation, they categorize internet governance into several baskets, such as infrastructure, security, legal, economic, economic development, cultural, and rights, which will include human rights. So, I've talked about, government, private society, private sector, civil society, all trying to, be part of the multi-stakeholder process, right? And I would just say this, that in clear definition of each other's role, the government will create the laws and policies. The private sector will always drive the innovation and the infrastructure, right? Civil society will represent public interests, such as human rights and research, those in the academia, right? Technical community will build and maintain the internet core, right? So instead of one particular group dictating, the terms and conditions, that's why we now have what we call the multi-stakeholder model. And what does that multi-stakeholder model simply say? It means that let us all sit at the same table and figure this problem that we have together. Let's figure it out, right? Nobody's smarter. We don't know it all, right? I want to hear your concerns. Government wants to hear your concerns and all of that. So it's more like a town hall, right? Where everybody come together and then discuss specific issues. So I will get over to what or who are really the key stakeholders, how they are classified within the internet ecosystem, right? We talk about the name and addressing guys. We'll talk about the name and addressing guys. We'll talk about the open standard guys. We'll talk about the shared global service and operation. We'll talk about users, and then the education and capacity building, as well as local. Sorry, Glenn.
Yes.
As well, the local, the national, the regional, and global policy development, right?
Yep.
And I'll break it down like this, just so you know. I know this could be very overwhelming, but this is all that is involved. And courtesy, I need to give credit for this image, that this image came from Internet Society, a presentation they made several eons of years ago. It predates this conversation that we are having right now. So I just need to also give credit to this particular image. So now let's talk about the naming section. Now, the names and numbers, as you see here. 1 second, I'll get back to this. Pen. Yes, the names and numbers that you see here. Right? This is where ICANN falls into. Right? Have you ever wondered the full meaning of ICANN, the last two names? Edmond, you want to give me an idea of the last two names? As in the last two letters, rather, of ICANN. It concentrates on something. This double N here.
Yes, so the last two names talks about assigned names and numbers.
Names.
So that's double N, names and numbers. Yes, sorry.
Hold it there for a thought. So all that ICANN does are narrowed into two major things, which I want to clear out for you, right?
Okay.
The names, hold it on one side. The numbers, hold it on another side, right? And so the names are things like .gh for Ghana. The names are things like .com, .org, .ca, .ng for Nigeria, right? And so you have ICANN having a conversation all about both names and numbers, right? And because you're an African, right, I will talk about one other thing later on. Now, let's now go to the RIRs. We have what we call, under ICANN, we have like the RIRs, right? Where IANA delegated a lot of internet number resources and all of that back in the days. The IRRs, right, are the regional internet registries. They are the ones who allocate internet numbers to your ISPs, all your telco guys. Just imagine even to you as an end user, right? But then it doesn't come to you directly from the RIRs. It has to go through what we call like your local internet registry and then maybe to your ISP, right? So the RIRs play an important role, and they are called regional internet registries. And we have 5 of them. So 5 of them. We have ARIN for the American. We have ARIN for the American side. We also have, sorry, 1 second, let me close the door.
We have the acronym. So from my end, that's Africa.
Absolutely,
I think I'm familiar with that.
You're correct, right? And then we have NCC for Europe. We have LACNIC for Latin America, and we have EPINIC for Asia Pacific, right? So we have ARIN, NCC, EPINIC for Asia Pacific. We have Right, NCC, I've mentioned that, right? Olaknik. And then we have Afrinic. Now, those are the IRRs, right? So all your big telcos and all of that, they all go to the IRR to get IP addresses and internet number resources such as ASNs, IP addresses, IPv4 and IPv6. That all they all go there to get. So now you see that, you know, even your telco guys are stakeholders, right? As they are stakeholders getting those internet number registry, they still have another forum called the World Telecoms Organization, right? The ITU, where they also have their own conversation on telecommunications and the rest of things like that, right? So that's the role of IRRs, which then bring me to you being in Africa. Afrinic, as you know, went through a lot of things, right? And you participated in that conversation, right? And so that's just an example of how you have been able to shape governance and policies around it such that Afrinic now has a board of governance today, right? In the last election they just held. So that being said, I talked about the name part of ICANN, right? So this section are the names, right? The GTLDs and the CCTLDs. Can you give me the difference between a GTLD and a CCTLD? Just example. I'll tell you this is what GTLD means. Generic top level domain.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
And then,
I was speaking, but I was muted.
yeah, and then CCTLD is country code top level domain.
Yes.
So you want to give me an example of each of them?
Yeah. So an example of GTLD. Yes, is let's say the .org, as you rightly mentioned, with I can assign in the name. So .org, the .net, and then those ones. So something like Google, like .google, something like that, or some like using those as you have rightly indicated for the GTLD, and then that of the TTLD has to do with the DNS. I mean, specific with the DNS. So I want to get an example of that for you.
No, don't worry. Basically, all I just wanted you to just have is just basic understanding. The key thing we are talking about today is not DNS related issues such as names and numbers, right? So basically, all we are doing today is talking about internet governance. So now, speaking of that, we now know that the government also plays important role, right? In some of these things. And before I go forward, I think I have a breakdown of the same conversation we just had, such as ICANN, the IRRs, the INR transition, the GTLDs, the CCTLDs, right? And, you know, the role of ICANN, which tells us about their responsibility for keeping the internet number protocol space allocation through IANA and, you know, things like that. We talked about the regional internet registries and all of that. So we've also talked about like you have an idea what the government is, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to focus on open standards development, right? Now, open standard development are those bodies that kind of provide standards for the internet that we use today, right? And those body that we're talking about, they are affiliated with quite a number of things, and we have like the W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, the ITUT, that's yep, the ISO, the IEEE, and we have lots of open source communities, right, as well. And the ones that are affiliated with Internet Society, because again, I am on the board of Internet Society, is the IETF, the IAB, the IRTF, right? The Internet Engineering Task Force, the Internet Architecture Board, right? And the IRTF. So these are the ones that are involved in open standards. So these are different multi-stakeholder bodies, again, specifically within the technical community, that have lots of conversation on internet governance. So I want you to note these actors that I've mentioned now. Other, bodies that have all of these things are like the root server owners, the network operators, the ISPs, and all of that, internet exchange points. And when we now break it down, it now comes to you, right? You are the user. The organization you work for, right? If it's not government, you are users. The business you operate, right? The government are also users, right? Organizations, understand machine devices and all of that. They are all users. Now, other multi-stakeholder actors that are also involved, right, is virtual school and internet governance. They are trying to coach you to be the next generation of the internet governance decision maker by making you go through this class, right? We have other regional bodies, universities, providing that. We also have ICANN. It might shock you that while ICANN also, has its own, they also have something like ICANN Learn, which you can go and learn more about the DNS and the internet. You can also, go to ISOC's webpage. I think they probably have something there as well. The virtual school has an e-learning, the virtual school on internet governance has an e-learning platform where you can, use the platform to do quite a number of good and things like that. So these are like educational and capacity building bodies that are involved. The reason why you still see RIRs there is that, take for example, Afrinic also has a platform where they teach you things around IPv4s. They teach you things about RPKIs, ROA, and things around ASNs, IPv4 and IPv6, and things like that. I don't want to bore you with a lot of technical jargons or nuances, given that I have a very strong technical background, and I don't want to delve into that. But just to give you an idea that they have things like that. And I also know that Network Startup Resource Center, NSRC, also has capacity buildings like that. These are like small players that, yet they are small, they make very big impact. So now we've broken it down to that level of maybe education and all that, but I want to focus more on the local, national, regional, and global policy development, where so many people come to play some role, especially the government, right? Those in government, right, they have a lot of multilateral institutions that they have signed up to be members, such as ITU, UNESCO. Um, Even for you at national and local level, you still have your ISOC chapter level, you have your individual membership, you have organizational membership. I'm just giving you an idea of that. But more importantly, you have one thing that I know. You have your National Consultative Forum on IGF, right? Your NRI, your national, your regional national IGF, um, And so you have quite a number of things happening there. You will also recall, if you are you're paying attention, Edmond, you're from Ghana. Do you know that the African Internet Summit is holding in your neighborhood?
Yes, yes. And I have joined from yesterday, right, even to today, till I joined the finance meeting when I can. So yes, I'm very much aware. And I'll be participating physically probably on Friday. That is the ISOP day.
Okay, great. So I just want to talk about key policy actors, which is on the global and regional level, which I've talked about. That plays more of this role, the government, the regional registries, ICANN, the IETF, World Wide Web Consortium, and a couple of them. But I also want to talk about other guys, right? Which is also part of some of those things. The end users we talked about. We talked about the tech companies that control a lot of big infrastructure that powers the internet. And some of these companies also try to influence internet standards that I'm aware of. That's why they participate in most of these meetings and all of that, right? And we also have the academia, the think tanks, right? They also do all of this. So now the question is, based on the multi-stakeholder models and principle, we will all agree that not one single model or one approach fits everything, right?
Yes.
For multi-stakeholder process, right? Now, I'll tell you something about uh, some ways people practice multi-stakeholderism. IETF will practice multi-stakeholderism through consensus, right?
Okay.
IGF is going to carry out their multi-stakeholder model and principle through what they call consultative process, right?
Okay.
RIR, like Afrinic, if they want to pass a policy, they will pass it with what they call a rough consensus. So it's different from ITF's consensus, right?
Yes.
That's on the one hand. However, the principles must always include inclusiveness, transparency, bottom-up decision-making, and evolving to and new challenges, evolving to handle new. I'm sorry, it's more of bottom-up process that keeps evolving every time, right? So there is no single multi-stakeholder model that is standard for everything. Every organization has their process. However, there is one central principle for all of them, which I mentioned. There must be inclusiveness, transparency, bottom-up decision-making process, and each forum can adopt the one that suits them for their goals, right? So that being said, let's talk about the benefit of multi-stakeholderism. We've talked about the actors before now. We now want to talk about the benefits. The benefit of multi-stakeholderism is more of building legitimacy, because it affects every actor, and every actor contributes to help shape the policies, specifically when they combine the diverse expertise, and all the conversation will be around everybody bringing something to the table for conversation, right? So it's kind of have what they call a holistic solution, and allows for innovation and adaptability through open process, right? So the consensus model really, I would say, enabled the internet's rapid scalability, right? Because everybody's bringing something to the table. Now, speaking of the diverse expertise, right? You can imagine when combining both technical legal, business, social perspective in one single policy. That means you see that it's very holistic, right? And because of that, it brings about what I call innovation and adaptability, because everybody is involved, right? And at the end of the day, there is what I call scalability and resilience of the internet. So when all of this is executed, right, the model actually creates for more robust and sustainable model and outcome, because it's harder for bad ideas to get past several different experts, if you get what I mean, right? So that's just an example of that. So that being said, despite all of this, we still have challenges, right? And there will always be challenges of multi-stakeholderism. It is not always perfect, and it will always not be perfect. Please let me close the door. Now, remember that I use the example of the herding cats, like under the Schrodinger's cats framework, right? Because of that complexity, right? Coordination is always very slow and complex. I'll give you an example. In ICANN, which I think you participate a lot, we talk about issues around DNS abuse. We talk about issues on new GTLD. We talk about issues on universal acceptance and all of that. Do you know that these conversations, these specific hot topics that I've talked about, at least has been in almost every agenda that I've seen in the last 3 years in ICANN, right? I am not saying that it is a bad thing. I am saying that because everybody has to be heard, the coordination is slow and it is complex, because you have to factor in everybody's decision-making process, and then, quite a number of things will happen such that it makes decision-making complex, if you get what I mean. Now, let's now narrow it down to the power imbalances. Usually, at meetings like that, you do not see not-for-profit NGOs being able to fund themselves to go attend such meetings and contribute. So there is usually a power imbalance that favors the government and corporations that have the big money to send someone to such kind of meetings, right? So I would say that despite that, most of the internet governance processes, specifically that of IGF, it lacks what I call enforcement power, whereby decisions, or rather contributions or conversations that are held at IGF, are not enforceable in member states that are participating in that conversation. So more importantly, again, I want to mention that transparency gaps and geopolitical tension also does not help multi-stakeholderism in government, right? I'll give you an example of this. You will recall that there was a time in the geopolitics of Russia and Ukraine where Ukraine got the world's sympathy. And in one of that conversation, I think they probably wrote to ICANN, or maybe I can't recall, but I know that there was a request that they should stop Russia's internet or block Russia's internet, right? And I felt that that was too extreme, right? And nobody should be supporting that. If in all, we are always saying that we want one world, one internet, right? Why is it that one country is going to make a request to someone like maybe ICANN, and then ICANN will now implement it? It's just like the US is saying that everybody should should pay extreme high cost simply because we want to use IP addresses and all of that, because they are the ones who control it and all of that, right? So I feel that that doesn't make sense, right? So that's why I said that geopolitical tensions are also interesting. So because we are talking about IGF, I just wanted to, share an highlight of what IGF is. It's more of the flagship multi-stakeholder meeting under the UN umbrella. And, every year, participants from around the world exchange views on topics like, internet access, digital rights, some of those things that we talked about in the baskets, right? For me, I feel it is more of an open space for open conversation, and it does help people speak um, what they feel about something. However, there has been a lot of impact and criticism here and there. Everybody's saying what they want, um, despite the fact that they set global norms for inclusive discussions and have inspired a lot of national IGFs. They've also inspired a lot of um, national schools on internet governance. You understand? We have things like Euro, DIG, Africa IGF, West Africa IGF, Ghana IGF, which you are from, right? And I think we have the one for yeah, I've talked about the Africa IGF, and yeah, so there are a lot of schools on internet governance that has come out, and national regional IGF from this conversation, and it has helped a lot. So I would say that it has some benefits. Um, Again, its value is more of where people meet, have crucial information deals, and understand that they have more sensitive conversation. But the major criticism I wanted to talk to you about is that people assume and feel that IGF is a talk shop. People just go there, talk, 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 talk. There is no binding action on any member state. And from deliberations that are held there. So that has been one of the criticisms, and that's one of the reasons why we are having the WSIS process that is currently ongoing. And I think there's something called the zero draft that you should pay attention to. So I have a few questions for you now, just for me to make you understand some understanding of what we've been talking about, which is more of a quiz. So can you tell me, from the list that we have here within your country, right, which of them is not a major actor of internet governance? Edmond?
Yes, please. I am going through the list. So, in fact, with the list here, I'm finding it difficult to really navigate through. I might skip a little bit to the ministry responsible for trade and industry, but that one also at the point also forms part of the actors, okay, because it's a ministry. It talks about the nation. I mean the government. So anything that has to do with government, so probably a sector ministry responsible for something also. But basically, all those that are listed here, the ministry responsible for ICT, the ministry responsible for education, because education, don't forget it's also listed in academia and research institution. They are all actors, very, very serious actors. The civil society, yes, which involves the end users. I mean, we, the users. And then the judiciary, okay, so they are actors because they would have to make laws at a point in time on cases which has to do with internet privacy or governance or breach of data and stuff. So for me, I see all these as part of the actors. Okay, at the national level, we will take, yeah, maybe so, but you can't take civil society out. It's very difficult. Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer your question. What about at the regional level? Which of these ones is not an actor? Forgive me, please. 1 second.
Okay.
Edmund, if you're interested in the IGF, there's national, regional, and international. The last IGF was held in Oslo, Norway. So I don't have the link here, but if you look it up, you can listen to the recordings as well. But if you could look at submitting a proposal, and they're very open to suggestions. So each year, the IGF has a particular focus. So you might be interested in joining your group and participating, and especially from the global south, there's they pay for your travel and accommodation. So you should seriously look at that.
Okay, thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you very much. I'll look into this right after. Probably I'll even send you a mail after the class so that you can.
Yeah, I've done a number of the IGFs. I was going to go to Oslo, but my health is somewhat limited. So okay, I think Caleb, are you back?
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, so the same question also back to you. Do you think that for I don't know what slide you're seeing. Okay, this slide.
Okay.
So the question is, which of this is also not part of any actor at the regional level?
Sorry. So if I'm made to understand the regional level, like, is it
regional and
the
global?
region in the country? Global. Okay. Yeah.
Regional and global.
Okay. So
I'll rephrase the question again. So let's get back to this and let's answer this. So I wanted to just provide you answer with this. The ICT ministry, right, is a stakeholder.
Yes.
The Ministry of Education is a stakeholder. Why? Because they need internet, right, to power education and to teach people, right? The regulators are also stakeholders. Your judiciary are also stakeholders. Why? They need to check out case laws, they online, and they also need to make judgments on things that are related to the internet. I'll give you an example. Do you know that in Afrinic, the judiciary is playing an important role in determining the future of Afrinic, one of the IRRs for internet in Africa, or rather the IRR for internet in Africa?
No.
Oh, you don't know? So
no.
Now I'll recommend that as part of your reading, right? Go and Google the judiciary and Afrinic, right? And you read some stories of how the judiciary is playing an important role in making summary judgments and different kinds of judgment against and for Afrinic, right? So it goes
Sure.
to, yeah. So now people need internet for e-commerce, trading, and all of that, right? So your trade and industry has to also, you know, they are also stakeholders, right? Because this is government.
Yeah.
This for e-government services,
Yeah.
right? Of course, you know, civil society, and then you know that academia has to be there. So everybody here plays an important role, if you get what I mean. So
Yeah.
there is no way we can remove one out of them. I knew that probably something might have thrown you off, and what could have thrown you off is either this or this, or maybe this.
I was more prone to go off with the ministry responsible for trade because I didn't see it in the context of, government using the internet for their business. It just clicked me because government will have to create apps and services that will have to run for people to use. Yeah, so truly they are also important. But for the judiciary, I know that they are seriously relevant because of the cases and issues that will come up.
Exactly. So there are stakeholders that will help make certain decisions that will affect the internet. And so they need to be part of these conversations to understand the context, right? So that's the reason why I said that. So we have regional and economic communities such as ECOWAS, parliamentary bodies, UN agency that supports all of these things. But I don't want to talk more on that. But I just want to conclude because I want us to wrap up this class now. We are at the top of the hour, right? That internet governance is very complex and it's a multi-actor ecosystem. And so it involves many actors that are to play globally. And I would say that multi-stakeholderism, strengthens us, right? You know that thing when they say divided we fall, but united we stand, right? And so I believe that there is need for more diversity. I believe that there is need for more engagement, and I believe that there is need for more evolving models that we should have for multi-stakeholder processes as actors. We need more actors that have to play actively that will play important roles in those spaces. So the virtual school on internet governance, they play important role, as you see from the educational aspect. And then I would recommend that for your further reading, just check out the virtual school on internet governance website, IGF, I Can Learn, DiploWatch, the Internet Society learning platforms, to help strengthen what you're doing. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for giving me 60 minutes of your time. Not really 60 minutes or almost 60 minutes of your time, or maybe a little above that. I don't know what the time is saying right now, for participating in this class, and to thank you so much for being an active participant and engaging with me. I'm sure this video is going to be uploaded and other people are going to be watching. So thank you. Feel free to reach out to me anytime on any of my platform if you have questions. And here you are. We are at the end of the class. It's a wrap.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think this is a hugely valuable